What's up, Jammies? Welcome back to another episode of Ricky's Ram Jam, presented, as always, by Barefoot Wine. It is season 3, and we're back and bigger than ever. I am so ready for the season to start. We head to Sunday Night Football. The Rams are going back to Detroit, last seen for the wild card round, and this is season 3. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. Today on the show, we have ESPN's NFL analyst, Mina Kimes, joining me to talk, and then maybe in a few episodes and throughout the season, we're going to get some of your favorite Rams players as well. New, bigger, and better. A Ricky's revamp, if you will. So here's what I want to do first. I'm going to try to emulate what a normal game would be like. And we're going to start off with the coin flip, okay? Now, every show, what I want to do is flip a coin. And, hypothetically, of course. And then you, my beloved jammies, let me know in the comments if you think it's going to be heads or tails. So each week we can come back and see who was right and who was wrong. So let's see. Heads. The heads of the hypothetical Ricky's Ram Jam coin is going to be Cooper Kupp scores 2 touchdowns this weekend in Detroit. And the tails side is Coach McVay throws a challenge flag. Comment heads or tails. What do you think is more likely to happen this weekend? Heads or tails? You got to call it, jammies. Joining me now over a nice glass of wine, I wish, is ESPN NFL analyst and Rams preseason analyst, Mina Kimes. Hello, hello.
Hi. I don't know if people know that the first time I met you, you came to my house with a bottle of wine to tape a podcast broadcast.
As one should.
Which it's kind of remarkable that I said yes to that in retrospect.
I know.
I didn't even know. I think we had friends that we had Colleen in common at the time.
We had some mutuals.
Colleen Wolf. Yeah, we had some mutuals. But it was, and you guys had written a song about me.
Yep, Kimes after Kimes. Yeah,
really,
which is a banger, by the way.
Crazy behavior.
It is such, it was crazy. We were just crazy kids back then. That was so long ago.
Pre-pandemic, yeah.
I know. I mean, I didn't even realize that existed. Mina, let's jump right in. Okay, football's back. This is crazy. It's week 1.
Let's go.
We've got NFL football every week for the next 20 plus weeks.
Woo.
How to put that into words? Sum that up. You're so eloquent. You're way better at speaking than me. Put that into a beautiful little sentence. How do you feel about this?
Thank God, period. Not just because it means I no longer have to do 20 segments a week about Dak Prescott signing a contract or not and who's under the most pressure or whatnot, but just getting to talk about actual football, getting to see some of these new coaches, units, players, different spots on the field, seeing what it all looks like is incredibly exciting. And week 1, I mean, bangers. Including, of course, the Rams, probably one of the best games of the entire weekend. But I'm very, very excited football starting.
Yeah, me too. I cannot wait. I've got my, no one wants to hear about your fantasy lineup, but I'm excited. It's like coming Thursday. Like there's just so much going on and it feels really great. You were in the booth for the Rams preseason game and Jordan Whittington was such a standout and he made the 53-man roster. Is there someone else that caught your eye that you think can make an impact for this team?
Yeah, a guy who I had not heard of. I'd heard of Jordan Whittington. Omar Speights, man, was, I thought, the other standout of the entire preseason. Just completely blew us away watching the games, and it was so unexpected. And I think, it was definitely week 1. He was flying around, making tackles, impact plays. And at one point, I turned to, Andrew Whitworth, who went to LSU, and asked him, like, where was LSU hiding this guy?
Who is this guy?
And it's such a great example of how why the preseason matters, guys. No, but of that sort of competition aspect of an NFL offseason, because sometimes it feels like, certainly with a roster like the Rams too, that's so sad and it's hard to crack on, certainly on offense, less so on defense. But Sean McVay doesn't usually play starters in the preseason, and you ask, what are the stakes? Well, here are the stakes. A kid who was not drafted, who no one was even talking about in the draft community, came out of nowhere, played his butt off, so much so that he didn't even play in week 3 of the preseason. It's a really cool story, and I thought a really cool player.
Well, you talk about him being, a rookie, undrafted, all of these different things. The Rams have 17 rookies, the most of any team right now. They had 15 last year. When you look at the talent evaluators of this Rams team, talk about just how they go about doing it.
Yeah.
I am very, very impressed, obviously, with how they year after year tend to take these people and these guys that no one's really even talking about, and they end up being superstars for the Rams.
Yeah, there. I feel like it became almost a meme this offseason. Who's the new Puka Nakua? Right,
Right.
was a joke. And then for Jordan Whittington, drafted where he was to make an impact in the preseason, it felt I don't want to say like history repeating himself, because that would be unreal for anyone to match Nakua's rookie year production. But
Yeah, crazy.
It did feel like, oh my God, did they do it again? Did they find not only a player who I thought made such an impact in the preseason, the first 2 weeks, particularly week 1, but also fit the profile of the types of receivers they're looking for. I think that's what really has jumped out with some of these draft picks and decisions that they've made, is the Rams have, they've really gone into it finding not just the best players available or whatnot, but players who really fit what they want to do on offense and defense. Whittington being so tough, so great with the ball in his hands after the catch. He had a huge catch like that, week 1 catch and run. Somebody who you can put in motion, who aligns close to the formation, who can work in heavy traffic areas over the middle of the field. It's very obvious to me that the coaching staff and the front office work hand in hand in terms of identifying these players, because they're just Rams. They have the identity of the team.
And maybe the best hair on the team, Jordan Whittington. I don't know. He may have
tough
that
competition
down.
With Puka, man.
It is. I know, but it's just how long it is. And he would always walk by during training camp with his helmet, under his head and stuff, and he'd just be swinging it. And I'm like, it is tough. It is tough competition here. So, 5 undrafted rookies. We've talked about this rookie team, and even last year, how they developed these rookies. From our veteran standpoint, I mean, the NFL players recently voted Matthew Stafford among the most underrated QBs in the league. At age 36, what makes him so good, and why isn't he getting all of his flowers? Like, he shouldn't be underrated. Like, he is so great.
Yeah, he was probably top 7 quarterback last year, but he is pretty often left out of you don't see him ranked in that range often when you see like personnel surveys or whatnot,
right?
Which I think is sort of contributes to like underrated, overrated is kind of always hard to put a finger on, because it's like who's doing the rating. But I feel like that sort of captures, well, if somebody is actually playing at the level but they're not being ranked there consistently, they're underrated. And I guess maybe last year he was a little bit banged up, the year before some injuries as well, so maybe that factors into it. But when he was healthy last year, particularly when the entire offense was healthy, him, Kyron Williams, Nakua, and Kupp, I mean, he was just playing at an unbelievably elite level. And the qualities, the arm talent is obviously the thing that stands out the most. The ability to throw, you make some of the most difficult throws you see to every part of the football field. The no-look passes, the sidearms are, cool, but it's really that the placement and strength that allows him to make those throws that really stands out to me. I think also, as he's gotten a little bit older, something that's become kind of underrated is his athleticism. You certainly saw that on display last year. His movement abilities actually looked pretty impressive to me. He didn't look at, he looked less stationary, which I think is pretty impressive, in terms of like a quarterback who's getting older and still and arguably playing some of the best football of his career. So, I mean, with Matthew Stafford, the entire playbook is open. Every throw is available. Mentally, he's seen it all. He's obviously very capable of manipulating safeties with size. And I just, for a coach like Sean McVay, who's so creative, must be an absolute dream to have him to work with as his quarterback.
You kind of touched on it. We also have a healthy Cooper Kupp for the first time in a few seasons. And so what if we have a 2021 Kupp and a 2023 Puka with Matthew Stafford playing with Kyron? And I am so stoked for this offense this year.
That's scary. Yeah. I did a top 10 offenses pod and I had the Rams too, which a lot of people thought was, kind of high. And I get that, but I think the ceiling is absolutely there. In fact, when all of those players were healthy last year, they were as efficient, explosive as the San Francisco 49ers offense, who finished number 1 in just about every metric at the end of the year. I think the only thing I have questions about is just the offensive line. The health is a factor. Obviously, week 1, that's an issue with the tackles. They've invested a ton into that interior as well. And that's another one. If the offensive line is healthy, I have no questions. Even if, the wide receiver group has even if they miss some games. As long as the offensive line is healthy, I feel really good about it. But that is, to me, a necessary ingredient for the offense to hit its potential.
Yeah, I mean, Jonah Jackson, former Lion, he's now moving to center, and Steve Avila goes back to guard. I mean, it just goes to show kind of how versatile Steve is, and especially we talk
Yeah.
about a rookie of last season. That's really exciting. To flip to the defense a little bit, no Ernest Jones. We talked about it. The first season without Aaron Donald, and I know there's a lot of people saying like, oh, he'll come back for a playoff run, which only we could dream at night. That would be amazing. But the Rams spent a few top picks on Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. Like, what do you like most about those guys who will help to fill that void?
I like how they played together, which is a big part of why they drafted them. I know that Les Snead's talked about this. They just loved watching them as teammates at FSU, some of the two-man games that they would run, but also their complementary skill sets. Jared's this incredibly powerful rusher. He's so good at setting a hard edge. And then Fisk is a little bit undersized, but he's incredibly disruptive, super athletic, really explosive, agile. I think, pretty refined as a pass rusher. So the idea of them together with Byron Young, and Kobe Turner, it's a really interesting group of skill set. You really like a pass rush to have players who have different attributes so you can get the matchups you want and makes them difficult to stop. I think just thinking about them rushing as a group is really intriguing. But, losing the greatest defensive player of a generation, the impact of that, I think, is something that we might not really appreciate until, we see them all on the field. And, it's something that they're going to have to overcome for sure. It's a really, really young defensive front. But I do think, by the way, the veterans that they added on the back end will help in that regard.
Totally. And Jared Verse, he just doesn't stop yapping. He is such a talker, such a trash talker, and it's kind of fun to be around that like super young, hungry energy where he's just running his mouth to everyone and everyone, but then also backing it up. So like I'm really excited to see him sort of get let loose, especially in an atmosphere like Detroit. The Rams are heading back to Detroit on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, it was an incredible atmosphere for the wild card matchup last season. One, what do you expect the atmosphere to be like when they go back a second time? And two, what do the Rams have to do to come out on top on Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be crazy. It's especially given the Lions Super Bowl aspirations this year.
Which did you see the Dan Campbell
yes,
Applebee's commercial? I mean, I loved the McVay soup commercials, but that Applebee's one, I gotta tip my hat to Dan Campbell.
The man can
for that
act.
One. That was great.
Yeah,
they can act.
You got to applaud a coaching acting performance like that. But like that fan base, like this isn't just like, oh, the fun feisty Lions. They might like screw around and win some games. Like they fully expect to get to the Super Bowl this year, and I think that's going to heighten everything. I think we're going to talk about this matchup in the coming week on my pod, but something that strikes me is the Rams offense really needs to hit that ceiling we talked about. I think because I think the defense is going to be quite challenged, being so young against one of the better, and not just better, but really confusing offenses in the NFL. Yeah. An offense that actually has a lot of similarities to the Rams. So dominant on the ground, one of the best offensive lines, probably the best offensive line in football. However, I think the Rams can keep pace with them. The Lions' run defense is very good, but that pass defense is integrating some new players. They're going to have some rookies out there as well. So I think the way I'd see this playing out in the Rams' favor is if that offense, if they go toe-to-toe with them and it ends up being a high-scoring game.
Yeah, totally. Okay, like I do every episode, it's the Ram Jam. It's 3 questions, rapid fire style. And This is where we get to know Mina Kimes. So describe your perfect day start to finish. No work unless you want it to be. Like, what's your perfect day? What does it entail?
Yeah, we got a 9 a.m. game in London, so I wake up and only have to wait an hour and a half or so. On these days with the kid, I wake up a little earlier before football starts, and it's like I don't know, Jags Titans or something where I'm kind of easing into the day. And then ideally you'd have like the game spaced out where like it's not all the marquee games at once. I really hate that. Right. Like nice spacing where there's one game I really want to be dialed in at, for each for 10-1 and then Sunday Night Football. Probably some wings are involved.
Nice.
I haven't had wings since I think the end of the football season. I'm just not someone who eats wings outside of a sports context.
Okay.
So
Okay.
maybe some wings for dinner.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's say
That's a
also
perfect day.
my kid didn't wake up before 7 a.m. is the other thing I'd like to throw into the
Did he
mix.
nap? Is he a napper?
He naps, yeah.
Okay,
But
cool.
it's really the wake up.
It's the wake up that's the brutal part.
It's the pre 6:30 a.m. wake ups that kill me.
Yeah, no, that should be outlawed. Which celebrity would you like to switch lives for one day, and why?
Oh boy,
Anyone.
anyone? That's a good question.
It is, right? It's kind of hard because you're like, well, would I want to be this person? No, but would I want to like live in their shoes for a day?
Yeah. I'll go with my no. I'm trying to see. I'm gonna choose someone in like a football
Yeah, but you don't have
context.
to. I mean, you could literally be like, I, you know, I mean, obviously, I'm
I'll
gonna pick
go.
Taylor Swift.
I'll go with Marshawn Lynch because I've seen him
That
move
would
in
be
the
a cool
world,
day.
and everybody just loves him.
That would be a
He
cool
every
day.
time he enters a room, everyone's like, "Oh God, it's Marshawn
Yeah. I
Lynch," and
mean, it's
he,
pretty
yeah.
pretty similar with you too. Anytime you enter a room, people are like, "Oh, it's Mina Kimes."
That's
But
what
yeah,
you
I
love
mean,
that.
Marshawn's like a little, yeah, that would be a really fun day. That would be a really fun day. Okay, last question before I let you go. Iced coffee on a snowy day or a hot coffee in a heat wave?
I would go with iced coffee on a snowy day, I guess,
I'm the
because
same.
I
I'm
get
I'm a New Englander. I could be -10 out and I'm having my iced coffee no matter what. So that's
iced
that's the
coffee for
answer.
some reason always makes me crazier though. I don't know. Is it
Really?
more caffeinated? Because
I don't know.
maybe it's because I drink it faster, so I'm just like, ooh, after I
Yeah.
drink it. Whereas hot coffee, you have to slow down
Like
and
sip.
drink it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in a heat wave, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Awesome, Mina. Thank you so much for stopping by. I love all your insight. And Jammies, if you're interested in learning more about this matchup, make sure you check out Mina's pod. It's amazing. Check her out on Twitter. She is the voice of reason, and I hope to be just half as smart as her someday. So that would be great.
I
Awesome.
appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Mina. There she goes. Would anyone want a hot coffee in a heat wave? Maybe. We will see throughout this season who answers that. All right, you guys, that does it for this week's Ricky's Ram Jam. We're so excited the season is back. Mina has a ton of insight as always. Really looking forward to the Sunday night football game. Like she said, the atmosphere is going to be wild. There's a really cool watch party happening at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery where season ticket members and others can get tickets to go. It's a really cool venue. They do movie nights there throughout the summer, and it's like you would think it's like kind of like, wait, it's a cemetery? No, it's a really cool venue, and I've loved every time I've gotten to get there. So make sure if you're in town and you're available to go and you're not in Detroit, get to Hollywood Forever Cemetery. It's going to be a great night. Oh, wow. First episode down of Ricky's Ram Jam season 3. Episode 2 is going to be even better. You guys know what to do. Let's ram it.